Welcome, everyone. You're watching Channel 26. This is Valley Homes on TV, the Milpitas edition. I'm Debbie Indahar-Giordano along with Todd Flesner.
How you doing, Deb?
Really good. It's a little warm out there today.
Well, we've had a great summer here. We love living here in Milpitas, don't we?
We do. And for you folks that have tuned in to watch us, be sure to catch us on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6:30 p.m. And you can also see us on Saturday and Sunday at 9 a.m. So we're pretty regulars there.
Yeah, great. So we're going to talk some real estate today.
Love it.
And particularly investment.
Okay.
Real estate is an investment. So I brought along a couple of experts in real estate investment today to talk about just that. How do you use real estate as an investment tool? So joining us today, Raul Richardson and Kim Pham. They're with real estate investment experts. And so that's what they do. They help people look at how do they use real estate as a tool for investment, particularly multifamily housing, and that is a way to.
And we know that's a hot topic right now.
Yes, it is.
Folks
Yes,
are just trying to jump in. So
Yeah.
welcome.
Okay.
Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule. So
Thank you for having us.
Good. Well, we'll start off. Let's get to know you a little bit.
Sure.
Tell us a little bit
Sure.
about yourself, your background. What kind of got you into
Very good.
the real estate investment business?
yes.
Okay, thank you, Todd and Debbie, for giving us the opportunity in speaking tonight. My name is Raul Richardson. I am a licensed real estate broker specializing in apartment buildings. I am the CEO of Real Estate Investment Experts. This is my co-owner of the company, Kim Pham. I've been licensed since 2003 and been practicing real estate residential since 2003. And I changed focus after the change in the real estate industry in 2010. Since then, that's how I pretty much got into the apartment business, with managing apartments.
Okay.
Managing in the apartments kind of got me into the specialty where I really love. This is an area where this is where I profess. This is how live, eat, and breathe apartment buildings. With me is Kim Pham.
Yes, and thank you for having us today. My name is Kim Pham, and I'm a licensed real estate agent working with Raul here, establishing our business office in San Jose, and specialize in apartment buildings and multi-units. I'm an investor myself for more than 10 years. I own properties across the country and managing them myself as well. I moved here from the East Coast, and I went to school as an engineer, and so is Raul. In the East Coast, attending Columbia University and Cornell University. And I love real estate since then. I'm investing, and now as a real estate agent, I can bring the skills as an investor to the table and serving our community here in Milpitas and San Jose.
Well, you folks chose to stay here in the Bay Area. What do you like about living in the Bay Area?
It's not like, it's what I love about the Bay Area, and I really mean that. First and foremost, the employment opportunities that this country provides, especially here in the Bay Area. The weather, the educational system. It's a wonderful place to live. I was raised here since my early elementary school years in the peninsula, and I received my formal graduation at San Jose State. From that point, we both worked in the engineering field. I myself worked in the semiconductor capital equipment and also the aerospace industry.
Nice. Good background.
Yeah.
You can.
And for me, this Bay Area is the land of opportunities. Is being an engineer, I love the technologies that growing, the jobs growth in this industry, in this area is tremendous. It's providing a lot of opportunities for people to invest in real estate.
Okay.
Good. Well, you both mentioned you have a background in real estate and in residential real estate, but you've moved your focus to investment properties and multi-unit properties. Can you tell folks a little bit about maybe what's different about that arena, or what's unique, or what attracted you to specialize in that area?
Sure. The biggest difference, in my opinion, and I'm sure everybody agrees, it's cash flow. We have 6 doors. Well, we could have anywhere from 2 to however many doors under one roof, and that allows for greater cash flow, especially in the event if there is a vacancy. You still have property income coming in.
Are there things, Kim, that you like about the commercial or the multifamily arena compared? You're an investor, and what is it that you really like about that arena?
Well, as a multifamily, like Raul said, the cash flow and profitability would attract investors. And when we look at the deals or transactions, we look at from an investor's perspective. What is it in it for me? How is it going to invest? How this investment for short term and long term is going to bring me profitability, and cash flow is key.
So the numbers really are much more important perhaps than someone who's looking at a property that's going to be their home, right?
Right.
It's a different motivation.
Correct.
So let's, then my question, and I deal in residential real estate.
Yes.
So tell me about the current market conditions.
Okay, as at this point and in the last 3 to 4 years, the market condition definitely favors the sellers, the landlords. At this point, for example, there are 4,000 fourplexes in Santa Clara County. And of those 4,000, as of today, there is a total count of 53 properties that are available, actively on the market.
So that would be a low inventory.
Very extremely low. Of the 5 or more units, commercial units, there's currently active 17. And of those 17, I think 3 of those are over 4 months old. So they're properties that are not going to sell, overpriced.
Okay. Well, we talked about cash flow and the tight inventory, and I think folks who rent in this area know that the rents are on the rise. But as an investor, as you look at a property, how do you consider what the value is, and how do you evaluate rents as a piece of that?
That's a great question.
How do you evaluate an investment property?
Yeah, correct.
It's pretty much basically boils down to the ability of that particular building to produce income, hence income-producing property. That the ability of the property in producing income is directly correlated to the value of the property. As an investor, if you're buying property, I would take a very close look at the current markets, the current rents, the future rents, also known as pro forma rents, areas of economic growth within the submarket, and of course, the condition of the building.
So are there metrics you use, like gross rent multiplier is one that you'll hear,
Sure.
or
Cap rate.
rates and those sort of things? Are there particular metrics that you look at as you help your investors, your buyers look at potential properties?
Yes.
That you key on?
That's those two metrics they're used very often in our industry. Cap rates as well as gross rent multipliers, which essentially gross rent multipliers is defined as the gross annual income, the number of years it would take to pay off that property. So as a buyer, the lower the number, the better it is for the buyer.
Okay. So Kim, let me ask you then, in terms of the current rental market value, Raul mentioned that as a factor. We've seen incredible rises in the rents.
Right.
Probably 10, 15% a year, maybe something
Yes.
like that.
Yeah.
So how do you see the rental market, and where do you see it going?
It continued to rise. I mean, the job market here, with the new job opening and that pulling more and more people coming into this area, that's rising the demand for rental. And so we see that it's continued to rise. However, there are some debate and there's some conversations about how do we stop this from continuing to rise. And so that's where we are. The demand for rental is still going very strong. And that's why the value of the properties continues to go up and supporting that.
Correct.
Okay. Well, good. Let's switch gears a little bit and think about taxation. Are there some special tax rules or advantages, perhaps, to owning rental property that people might want to consider?
The most significant tax advantage is the ability to file as a Schedule C, which is essentially you treat the building, your investment, as a business, which affords certain deductions that are not normally used in the everyday filer.
So like depreciation, for example, right?
Right.
Depreciation.
And another tax code that's very favor to investors is the 1031 exchange, where you can defer the capital gain to buy a like-kind property. That's really allowing the investors to buy a likewise property and defer that tax.
And define like property would be one investment property versus another type of investment property?
Right. And we have a team of experts in that area that really consulting with our clients, investors, to really follow the guideline of the tax rule.
Okay.
And allow them to follow the rules and preserve as much capital for them for future investments.
Okay, good. You talked a little bit earlier about managing properties, right?
Oh, the headaches.
The opportunities.
Opportunities.
There you go.
What are things that folks might want to consider if they're looking at multifamily properties in the management aspect of that?
That's a great question. And one of the most important things that I want the viewers to understand is that in managing properties, one should manage a property as an investor, not as a property manager or someone that is collecting rents. Treat it as an investment. You be the investor, let the property manager handle the day-to-day problems, and you focus on your main part of life, which is personal and professional.
Okay. So much like someone might have a stock advisor that manages their stock portfolio, similarly with real estate,
Right.
you can have a property manager who really takes care of those issues for you.
You have to be extremely careful. You don't want to get you don't want to get into the personal side of managing a property, because it could definitely ruin your day if you have a bad tenant or a bad situation.
And I guess a property manager has more an objective look. They're looking at the
Exactly.
dollars and cents, whereas the owner has more of an emotional
Right.
investment into that, and that
Yeah.
probably
And,
doesn't work
and
too
they
well.
know the current laws,
Yeah.
because they're changing every year.
Right,
So you have
right.
to be careful. It could be a legal minefield, which, by the way, I have always said managing property is one of the most restrictive paths one could take in opening a business.
Okay, so we talked about rental values, we talked about the other aspects of determining that. Let's talk about overall general maintenance. So when an investor buys a building, or the many doors, you call it doors under one roof, but how do you evaluate, say, the maintenance aspect of an aging building, and what do you use to make sure that the cash flow makes sense?
Sure. I have typically in this area, most apartment buildings were built anywhere from the mid-50s to the early 70s. So that throws them out to the 40 to 50 plus years in age. And to be conservative, one should collect 10% of the collected rents and hold it for maintenance. There was a recent study at the National Association of Apartment Owners, I'm sorry. They stated that 6.3% of 6.3% of that 10% should be saved for capital expenditures, and the remaining 4% in maintenance.
Okay, good. What are some other challenges that people might face in terms of looking at owning multi-unit housing?
The current most important challenge as an investor is the current situation with rent control. There's more and more talk of rent control.
San Jose has rent control?
Yes, currently it's capped at 8%.
Okay.
There's talk about 4%. In Richmond, for example, last week they just announced that their rent control caps will be tied to the Consumer Price Index. San Francisco, San Jose, and Oakland, which is about 2%. That's equal to East Palo Alto. East Palo Alto also has rent control.
Boy, that is going to really change the landscape.
That, and they're also there's talk of implementing a just cost rule for eviction. In other words, the landlord cannot just kick somebody out to raise the rents. You have to have a just cost. So that's another thing that
Even
we're
if they're on a
facing.
month-to-month tenancy
Correct.
and they just want to give them a, say, 60-day notice to vacate?
I don't know the exact rules, Debbie, but I do know that there's